This episode is best enjoyed with earphones on.
It's been so long, but I must say, it was worth the wait. I can't help but wonder, though, why my dear old classmate chose you to safeguard this artifact, after everything I've done for it. I'll admit, I felt a little hurt, but I suppose you can enlighten me.
You're wasting your time. We won't tell you anything.
So feisty, even now, when your life depends entirely on my mood. But today is a good day. I have you. I have the orb. So, why don't you save us all some time and tell me how it works?
We're not telling you anything.
Oh, the Druid speaks? Now that I didn't see coming. Feisty, just like your friend. I can feel that fire inside you. Oh, apologies. Am I bringing back memories? Ah, this look. I know it. I've seen it before. But where? Oh, that's right. Back when I paid a visit to your monk friends a few days ago.
What did you do?
You are alone. Again.
What do you want?
Ah, my little puppet is lost. Broken. Angry. But fear not, because I am here to put an end to your misery.
Enough with the games, Arakoth.
But this game, my wayward child, you will find truly fascinating.
They were such a devoted people, your monks. So unyielding. So desperately clinging to their faith on the elements. But what can a monk do against a powerful caster? Right, Lovette? They were people of the elements. But how many flames could they turn off? How much smoke could their lungs hold? Destroyed by the element they once adored. It's almost poetic, really.
No. You bastard.
Oh, yes. You should have heard their screams. It was exhilarating.
Malachor betrayed you. Did you truly believe that fool could break the chains that bind you to me? Oh, my sweet thing. He could no more unmake my will than he could stop the tides from reaching the shore. Malachor is nothing but an impatient child, reckless. And now, he has ruined everything. He acts without wisdom, without vision. But you are different.
Speak clearly.
I will grant you a choice, my little songbird. I can break our contract now. In this very instant, sever the bond between us. You will be free. You will walk your own path unshackled. You will never hear my voice again. You will be alone.
Or
You will be my champion. You will stand at my side, bear my mark, serve me in all things. Devote yourself to my goal. And, in return, I will grant you power unlike any you have ever imagined. With my power, you can strike him down. You can save the girl whose name lingers on your lips even now. You can burn his empire to the ground. All you must do is give your loyalty and will to me.
Why? Why do you even do this? What do you want?
What does an ambitious man crave more than anything? Authority, power, the right to reshape the world, the right to create a new world. I can become a god. People will love me, adore me, worship me. And when Arakoth ascends, I will ascend with her champion.
Arakoth?
What do you mean, a new world?
The sundering is closer than ever. Soon, the veil will break, and the two realms shall become one, restored to their rightful form. And in this new world, only the strong will rule. That is why I have an offer for you, Lovette the Bard. You have been such a thorn in my side, more troublesome than I ever expected. Your power is growing. Your influence spreads like wildfire. Why waste it fighting me when you could stand beside me? Join me. Help me complete this great work, and we will seize power together. Whatever we desire will be ours. And I will give you what you crave most. I will return you to your world, your home, and your enemies. I will give you the power to erase them with a single breath. All you must do is swear your loyalty to me.
Are you telling the truth? Will I be able to save her? Save them?
You will, but then you're mine.
I accept.
I refuse. I wouldn't even be able to look my friends in the eyes if I sided with you. I'd rather never see them again than see them through your eyes.
You little rat! Who? That mask! Fox!
Don't speak.
Fox?
You had one job, and you failed. She is not pleased.
I did this for us! For power! I had everything under control! If only she had listened!
She? Listen? To you? A mere mortal grasping at divinity. How pathetic.
What did you just say? You dare speak to me this way? You? A jester! A pawn! A fool!
Siona, the orb, get it!
Got it. Come, we need to get out of here. Can you cast a spell to get us out?
Not this time. They drained me. They took our weapons too.
Don't let your guard down, Fox. So, she is the reason behind all of this. Well then, let it die! along with you.
Why?
Not your concern. Leave.
We are surrounded.
Hold on to me tight. You chose this path, Vox. Don't get lost in it.
Good. Now I can fight you without distraction.
Welcome back to another episode of the B&D podcast. In today's episode, we're diving into the most toxic TTRPG player archetypes we've ever encountered, or maybe we ever been. Let's be real, we've all been there. You sit down for a cozy game night with your friends, co-workers, family, strangers, whatever, and then that player walks in. The one who's an hour late again, or the one who insists that a flying castle would collapse under its own weight because physics in a world where dragons exist.
Today we're embracing the chaos. We're talking about the players who haunt every table, and yes, we're ranking them. From distracted scroll zombies to rule lawyers, no one is safe. How are we doing it? We've turned it into a game. We're placing every one of these player types into our own TTRPG toxic player tier list. So, who's just a lovable gremlin? And who deserves to be banished from the party? Grab your character sheet and maybe your therapist, because this one's going to hit close to home.
Alright, so here's how this is going to go. We've created our very own TTRPG toxic player list, a completely biased, very scientific, and totally unserious way to rank the worst player archetypes we've all encountered at the table, including us. So, we've got 4 tiers. S tier, which goes for please don't come back, the absolute worst, game ruining levels of toxic, instant party ban. A tier, which goes for why are you like this? Pretty disruptive, usually frustrating, but maybe they have a redemption arc. B tier, which goes for mildly cursed, annoying but not unbearable. You can work around them with patience. And C tier, which goes for lovable but needs guidance. Not really toxic, just messy. We still love them.
We've gathered a list of 14 classic toxic player types, and for each one, we're going to discuss what they do, how they impact the table, and then decide where they belong on our tier list. So let the judging begin.
Ooh,
First.
let's go. Who's first?
We've got the Doomscroller. The Doomscroller is that one player who may be physically present, but spiritually deep in TikTok or even playing other games when you play online. We've seen that too. Never know what's happening, miss every cue, and when you ask what their character does, they are like, where are we again? What are we doing? Who's that guy again? Is it my turn?
To be fair, I've been that player before. In one specific campaign, I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't like the story. I didn't connect with the party. And overall, the vibe was off. I tried to talk to the DM about it, but he wasn't really the kind of person who could handle those conversations. He was very focused on the story he had written, and nothing else really mattered. And okay, I get it. I know how hard it is when you've built a world and you just want people to engage with it, but at the same time, I should have just left. The truth is, I didn't. I stayed because I was such a huge people pleaser. I didn't want anyone to think I left because of them or hurt anyone's feelings. But now, 5 years later, and with a +1 to my wisdom score, I can tell you, don't waste your time on a campaign you don't enjoy. Even if you feel bad leaving, even if it's awkward, it's better to walk away than to sit through something that drains you. And TTRPGs are so time-consuming. You should feel excited and invested and not scrolling through TikToks mid-session. If you catch yourself doing that, you're probably at the wrong table. Let it go, move on, you'll be happier, and honestly, so will the rest of the group. I'd still place that kind of player in B or A tier, though, because as much as I understand where it comes from, it is disrespectful, especially to a DM who's trying the best to create something meaningful to you, even if it doesn't touch you.
I have to admit, I couldn't agree more with this. It's really difficult to let go of a group where you get along well and they're so nice, but unfortunately, you can't glue with everyone you like as a person. Rip the band-aid off fast and move on. Be tier for this one.
So you should be prepared for the next one. The edgelord or murder hobo.
Oh no.
So this is the player who solves every problem with violence. Doesn't matter if you're in a peaceful village, talking to a shopkeeper, or just passing by a traveler, they'll put all their weapon and say, I attack. No questions, no motivations, nothing. They don't engage with the story, they don't care about NPCs, and if you've spent time building a rich world full of lore, yeah, they're probably going to burn it to the ground just to see what happens. Sometimes this may work in a one-shot, let's say, situation because it's just a one-shot, who cares? And it can be fun, but in a long campaign with actual plot and character arcs, it gets exhausting really, really fast.
I have no words for this, people. They will certainly burn in hell.
You hate these people, honestly.
I hate these people. I think, from my experience, they're the ones that made me feel so insecure about DMing in the first place. I've got trauma because of that. So S tier, 100%. I will not tolerate this ever again as a DM in my party. We don't agree with this kind of behavior here.
No. It's so acceptable. I'm honestly torn between A and S tier for this one because murder hobos don't just cause problems for the DM, but they also ruin the experience for other players who actually want to engage with the story, explore the world, and interact with NPCs. And sometimes it's that one NPC the DM has been teasing for months, the one with the crucial information the party's been chasing for years, and now they're just dead, just gone. So no story, no answers, no nothing. So since we both said S, let's put them there.
Thank you. Next, we've got the Flake. This is the player who just never shows up, or they cancel 5 minutes before the session starts every time. And yet life happens, we get that. But when it comes to a pattern, it starts to hurt the game. They break plot lines and throw off the party dynamic in battles. If you decide to play without them, the DM must always be like, well, I guess they mysteriously vanished again, destroying the narrative. And when they show up, they have no idea what happened to the session because they never even cared to ask.
You know, if this is something that happens a lot, then it's a huge problem. I'd say B or even A tier, depending on the situation. Because there are players who, let's be honest, don't contribute much, even when they show up. So if they're missing, it barely affects the game, so that's more of a B-tier situation for me. They mostly impact their own experience, but if they're a key character, someone tied into the plot or who's needed to move the story forward, then it becomes much more disruptive because you end up having to pause or even cancel the session again for the 30th time, and that affects everyone, and that's not cool. TTRPGs are a time commitment. If you don't have the time or energy, it's totally okay, but just maybe choose a different type of game. Don't track down a campaign that needs at least 3 hours of focus a week from everyone at the table. So for this, I'd say it's an A tier situation.
I think I'd go for B tier for this one, even if sometimes I can be like that if my social battery is really, really low. I don't like canceling at the last minute, but I do understand that these things can happen.
You know what? Let's put that on B. Let's put that on B. I'm on the same boat. Yes. So moving on, something very, very interesting we've came across a lot during our campaigns with Val. The jokester, we don't mean the fun kind. Let's begin with that. This is the player who turns everything into a joke. It doesn't matter if the scene is emotional, serious, or even tragic. They'll crack a joke during a character death or make weird noises in the middle of a tense negotiation. And look, we love comedy at the table, okay? A well-timed joke can be gold. But this ain't it. It gets even worse when the whole party has agreed to play a horror theme game, and this player spends every minute trying to derail the tone. They twist every scene into something goofy and unserious, throwing off the mood, and putting the DM in a tough spot. So depending on how relentless they are, I'd place this one in B or even A tier. If they can read the room and dial it back, great. But if they keep streamrolling every moment just to be the loudest voice at the table, nope.
Oh no, I don't really understand this. I'm usually the opposite. It's definitely an A tier for me. You're right, something, because I have really high standards with my group members nowadays. I don't tolerate much.
That's so true. So A tier it is.
Good. Next we've got Addis. Oh no, I meant the metagamer. So this is a player who somehow knows everything from the game. Monster stats, loot tables, what spell the villain might cast next, and they just can't help but use that knowledge, even when their character realistically wouldn't have a clue. They blur the line between player and character constantly, making choices based on meta-knowledge instead of role-playing. It can suck the tension out of the game, and it's especially frustrating when they start steering the party like they're the only one with the answers. Now, if it happens once or twice, whatever. But when it's consistent, it breaks immersion hard.
So when you're new to the world of TTRPGs, it's actually really common to metagame. It takes time to learn how to separate what you know as a player from what your character would realistically know. And that's totally fine. In that case, I'd put it in the C tier. It's part of the learning process. But when it's a player who's been in tons of campaigns, who knows all the monsters, all the mechanics, and still chooses to use that knowledge in character, that's deliberate. And at that point, I'd place them in A tier, maybe even S, depending on how much they dominate the game with it, because it's no longer a mistake. It's a habit that ruins immersion for everyone else.
Being able to dive into your character and become one, share their mind and ideas. We know how difficult it is to avoid using information that will save our character or help the party in general, but being able to dive into your character and become one, share their mind and ideas, means you have to force yourself to take a step back and not react when it's impossible for them to know something that you are really familiar in real life with. I'll say A tier. That's quite merciful. But let's go with that, just because I don't want people to think I'm just being me here. I'm just traumatized by my fellow players, that's all.
Understood. That's totally understood. But you are going to love the next one, because the next one is the overhyper. This is the player who shows up to session 0 with a 10-page backstory, a full mapped-out hometown, 3 generations of family lore, and probably a prophecy or 2. And honestly, it's kind of impressive. They love the game, they're passionate, excited, overflowing with ideas, and that's great, until it starts to overwhelm the DM mostly. Because suddenly the DM can't world build without tripping over this player's personal canon, and maybe it can be very hard to follow after one point.
I am guilty for that. I'm sorry to most, not all, DMs I have played with. I don't want to say it's toxic, but yes, it can be. Especially if you're too attached to your character.
It happens.
You want everything, it happens. You want everything to go as planned in your own head, but sometimes you just need to understand, and I'm talking to myself right now, that we cannot have control over everything. I would say C tier for this one because I'm biased.
Well, yeah, to be fair, I get it, because this kind of player can be a lot, but honestly, it's also really sweet. There's something beautiful about someone being so invested in your world, so inspired after each session that they can't stop creating. These players care deeply about the story, the party, and the DM's work, and I really admire that. I'll expose myself here, too, saying that I'm also one of them. I'm definitely that player who keeps adding little things over time to give my character more flavor. I know my GM has probably stopped reading everything I send lately in our Vampire the Masquerade campaign, and that's okay. I still write it anyway because I'm just so hyped, and if I don't write it down, I'll explode. So yes, it can get overwhelming for a DM, especially if it starts to take up too much narrative space, but it's also something that can be solved with a little honest, kind conversation. So for me, this is a C tier, Lovable but needs guidance, passionate, creative, maybe a bit much, but ultimately coming from a place of love.
I 100% agree with you.
So you go to C.
But yeah, C is a good tier, I think, for this one. But
wouldn't
next
mind.
we've got the unprepared.
Whoa.
This is a player who shows up with no dice, no character sheet, no idea what's going on, and somehow they still haven't leveled up. Again, we all have busy lives. And sometimes, yes, we forget stuff. I don't. So some people do.
Some people.
But when it's every single session, it starts to drag everything down. Combat slows to a crawl, the DM has to repeat things, and the rest of the group gets pulled out of the moment while someone tries to relearn their own subclass. Now, they're not being difficult on purpose, they're just not putting in the effort. And that can be frustrating, especially in a game that relies on everyone being even a little prepared.
You are not prepared. Well, it can be really time-consuming for sure, and honestly, it is a toxic trait in some cases. Because if this behavior comes from a place of I just don't care, then I'd place it in B tier or higher. It's frustrating and it shows a lack of respect for everyone else's time, something that cannot be easily solved with a little discussion. But if it's someone who's genuinely struggling to understand the game or stay organized, then I'd say C tier, because that's not toxic. It's just someone who needs a bit of help. In the end, I think it's one of those things that can easily be fixed with a kind, honest conversation. It's not the end of the world, just something that needs a little attention and support. So for me, B or C, depending on the intent behind it.
Well, we've all been there. And the fact that our fellow players at the time used to be upset with us for not knowing the rules or the spells, or like when we started playing, that's a bit disrespectful, but it's also really disrespectful in my opinion when you're a veteran player and you just don't care or you're not preparing at all, especially towards the DM. So B tier, let's say, for veteran players, but we have to be forgiving to all new players. So C tier, if that's the case.
I agree. So let's go with the veterans, just because. Let's put it in the A, let's say. But if you are new, you are in C, just so you know.
Yeah.
Now, next one, Realism Gremlin. This is the player who insists on applying real-world logic to a fantasy setting constantly. They'll pause the game to argue about how long a human could realistically survive without food, or how horses would definitely break their legs running down that hill. You know, all the important stuff. While you're literally mid-chase with a shadow demon. It's not that they're trying to be difficult, they're just stuck in the mindset that everything needs to make sense by real-world standards. But in a world full of spellcasters, dragons, teleports, sometimes you just need to let go. Now, I hope this is something that can be fixed with a little conversation, so I do say C.
I agree with this. Sometimes you try to implement logic to solve puzzles or to explain something that would be easily explained in the real world, but it's just because you want so badly to get an answer or find a solution. So just remember, you're playing a game full of magic, as you said. So let's say tier C for this one and be merciful once more.
Yes, of course. We've been merciful.
Next we've got my favorites. My favorite toxic player. The roleplay critique.
Oh my god, my forever nemesis.
This one stings. This is a player who constantly interrupts to tell others how their character should behave. They act like they know your character better than you do, and they're not shy about calling you out mid-scene. They offer no action points, no insight, no context, just unsolicited judgment. It's not coming from a place of helpfulness. It's coming from a weird need to control how others play. And that's not just annoying, but also incredibly disheartening. It can kill someone's confidence and suck the fun out of the table.
Seriously, no offense to anyone, but I can't handle these kinds of players. It's incredibly disrespectful to everyone at the table, and I really don't like the need they have to control others. The only character you need to control is your own, and that's it. So please, don't be that kind of player. Be respectful to your group. Don't act like you know someone else's character better than the person who created and plays them. It's disheartening, the least. It's frustrating, and honestly, it takes the joy out of the game. Because of that, this one's going straight into S tier for me, no question.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm not going to bother to add anything to this. Well said.
Thank you. And that's how we move on to the rules lawyer. This is the player who treats the rulebooks like sacred texts. They'll stop the game mid-scene to pull out a source book, quote page numbers, and argue about mechanics, even when the DM has already made a ruling.
Never challenge the DM.
Never.
There is always a reason something will not work or will work because the DM said so. And I don't care what the rulebook states on page 15. I will only accept this if it's to help another player or a new DM maybe. But still, I would try to correct only other players for the sake of our party, just to help us out, because the DM might have implemented their own rules, and that's totally okay. So solid A for sure.
So rules are important. Okay, we give you that. They give the game structure and fairness, but when someone prioritizes rules over story or constantly argues every little thing, it completely kills the flow. It's not about helping anymore, it's about being right. If it's done politely or with a good timing, it's manageable. But if they challenge the DM constantly or make others feel like they're playing wrong, that's when it becomes toxic. So for me, this one's a solid A tier. Not quite banishment worthy, but definitely exhausting if they don't know when to back off.
100% agree. And next we've got the I seduce everything player. You know the one. They flirt with every NPC, shopkeepers, monsters, royalty, random background characters, sometimes even inanimate objects. No matter the tone, no matter the stakes, they just can't resist turning everything into a flirting opportunity. Some people may say it's exhausting and derailing.
Well, honestly, if it's not exhausting for them, then it shouldn't be exhausting for the rest of us either. The only thing I really care about is not wasting too much time on every single flirtatious attempt, especially if it happens constantly. If it's just a one-time thing or something that pops up with the right NPC now and then, great, take your time, enjoy it, have fun with the moment. We will be having fun too. But if it turns into a habit that interrupts the flow of the session, then yeah, maybe we need a quick conversation to set some boundaries. Nothing dramatic, just a check-in so everyone stays on the same page. So for me, this one's a solid C tier. A little guidance, a little awareness, and we're good. Flirt away as long as you let everyone else play too.
I'm really neutral with this one because it can be fun, but it can also be managed easily by the DM by making the DC higher if they wanted to. So let's say a C tier, yeah.
Yes, let's go C tier. Flirt away. We're the flirt paladins here. So next one is the Spotlight Hog. This is the player who needs every scene to revolve around them. Doesn't matter what's going on, combat, roleplay, downtime, they somehow manage to make it all about their character. They interrupt others, jump into scenes they're not part of, and always have to get the last word. If someone else is having a moment, they'll find a way to insert themselves dramatically, of course.
Of course. I want to say that I get it, but I don't really.
Seriously.
If the DM gives me the opportunity to roleplay during a personal quest, for example, or during a special moment for my character, yes, I will grasp it for sure. But there are people who want to take over every single moment, talking over people and not letting everyone else shine or contribute to one scene. And I want to say S, but I'll go with A for this one just because I'm biased, I think.
Well, I don't think it's always malicious, but sometimes they're just excited and love the game. But when it starts taking away from everyone else's time, it becomes a real problem. So for me, it depends. If they're unaware and just need a gentle reminder, I'd say B tier. But if they actually, maybe an A tier too. But if they ignore cues, talk over people, and dominate every single session without letting others breathe, I'd say A or S. We're all here to tell a story together, so please take turns into the spotlight. Let's put them on A tier.
Let's do that.
Let's be merciful.
Yes, we are being really merciful today. So next we've got the min-maxer. This is a player who's hyper-optimized the character. Every stat, every feat, every spell choice is mathematically calculated for maximum damage output, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, cool. Build your powerhouse. But the problem starts when they judge everyone else for not doing the same. They treat the game like a competitive number spreadsheet instead of a collaborative story. And suddenly, other players start to feel small, insecure, or like they're playing wrong, even when they're having fun with their creative build.
I hate this kind of behavior because if everyone at the table agrees to play overpowered characters, then fine, go wild. The DM can scale encounters accordingly and everyone's on the same page. But when one player creates a super min-maxed powerhouse, while the rest of the party are just regular level 2 adventurers trying to just vibe, suddenly the DM has to raise the difficulty for everyone just to challenge the one person. That doesn't make the game more exciting, it just makes it unfair and exhausting for the others. And don't even get me started on the attitudes some people bring on the table. The ones who try to control the whole party, who judge every spell you cast, every move you make, correct you mid-turn, belittle your choices, or act like their way is the only way to play. So that's an easy A or S tier red flag for me. This isn't a tournament, it's a story, so let people play the characters they want to play, let them explore, grow, mess up, learn, and have fun without being constantly criticized.
I couldn't agree more again. Let's go with the S tier because I'm annoyed now.
I remember things from my past. And now that you're totally annoyed, here comes the last category. And the last category is called the rage quitter.
Oh.
This is the player who completely shuts down when the moment don't go their way. Maybe the dice hate them, maybe their plan didn't work, or maybe the spotlight didn't land where they wanted to, and suddenly they're sulking or even leaving the campaign. They stop engaging, give one-word responses, or just check out emotionally. And when that happens, it puts a cloud over the whole table. Everyone starts walking on eggshells, trying not to trigger another shutdown.
Oh, I can be a drama queen as well. I don't know if I'm biased again for this one. I think leaving the campaign is a bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been guilty of sulking constantly, being upset and passive-aggressive during sessions. So I have to try and be objective and say that I'll give myself, I'm in this category a bit here. Not unbearable, but sometimes, yes, quite unbearable.
Well, to be fair, you made steps of improvement. You're not the same player you were 7 years ago.
Thank you.
So let's give you that. Let's give you that. So I believe that players who consistently behave this way, they seem to miss the point that this is a collaborative storytelling experience, and just like in life, things won't always go exactly the way we imagined. If that's something you struggle to accept, do yourself and the group a favor and take a step back. We all run into issues now and then. Maybe the DM hasn't read your backstory and adds things that feel off, or worse, ignores it entirely. Of course, that's frustrating, but the best way to handle it is to communicate. Talk to them. If they're open to listening and willing to work things out, great. If not, then it's okay to walk away. That just isn't your table, and that's perfectly fine. So, let's say, I don't know, B tier.
B is fine. B is fine.
B is fine. B is
Before
fine.
I rage quit, here.
You're doing great, sweetie. So that's a wrap on this episode, you guys. Maybe you saw a tiny bit of yourselves in some of these categories. We know we sure did. But hey, the good news is everything can be worked on. What matters most is respect. Respect your players, respect your DM, respect their time, their effort, and their energy. And of course, they should do the same for you. These games only truly work when there's mutual respect, appreciation, communication, because communication is the key, and enough space for everyone to shine. If you've got that and you're willing to own up to your flaws and strive for balance, congrats, you're already a green flag player. We will talk more about those in a future episode.
It is refreshing to be a part of a table that allows you to be comfortable to be yourself, respect your boundaries and efforts, and everyone is willing to share the spotlight with you. So if you have that, please cherish it. Let's all try and be more open to change. Next time you feel like you're being part of one of these categories, suck the poison, spit it out, and stop repeating the toxic patterns.
You said well. That was so inspiring.
Thank you.
So this was so much fun, and thank you for spending your time with us. A quick reminder, our next episode will be the final one for the season. It's time. We've poured a lot into this past year, and it's almost time for our annual long rest. So don't miss our season's goodbye because it's going to be very special. So thank you again for being here, and we'll see you next week. Until then, may all your rolls be a natural 20. Bye!
Bye!